Alright, JD, I'm going to make you a little video of the car. I'll do a little walk around and then I'll go a little closer and a little closer. So you kind of see the whole car. It's about 34 degrees here in Dallas, which is not our norm. So I may shiver and the picture shake. It'd probably look better if I shut the door. The car fits together real tight. Sometimes with the windows up, you got to give the doors a little extra push. Windows down, they close real easy. The bumpers on this car are all original. They've never been re-chromed. That's kind of part of the wonderful thing about this being a California car with no real rust in it. Everything was in really great shape, interior and exterior wise. And I'll show you the few little nicks that we have in the paint. There's not a lot of road or rock rash along the bottoms or the quarters or anything. Everything's nice and solid. There's no rust in any of the corners. This car is all original sheet metal. None of the fenders or quarter panels or anything's been replaced, other than I did replace the trunk lid just so I could put a go wing on the back. Other than that, it's all original sheet metal all the way around. Now let's see, there's a small chip here. You can see by the size of my finger. And I have fairly small hands, so it's not a very big chip. It was touched up quite some time ago. It's never got any worse. There's a little blemish in the paint. Back here, we're looking at this back here on the C-pillar, and there's a little blemish right there, as you can see. That's my fault. I tossed a rag over here on the drip rail one day. It had some chemicals, some brake cleaner or something on it, and it made the paint lift a little bit, but that was about 6 or 7 years ago, and that's all the worst it's ever been. You can see it's all nice and solid around the windows. Trunk lid has a small chip or mark that was touched up. I think when a lawn chair came out. There is a little bitty chip over here that's not been touched up. Again, you can see it's not very big. There's one little rust bubble that I just noticed. Here on this corner, there's a little bitty place where the paint, it's got a little crack to it, and it's got just a little lifted spot. But I wasn't even aware of it until I walked around the car real close a minute ago to see if I could find everything to point out to you. There's a small blemish here on the door. You can see where it's at on the door. I'll back up. And there actually is a little spot on the back edge of the fender here. That's being too aggressive with the buffer, where it took the paint down on, right at the into almost the primer. Under the hood, everything is a lot of original underneath here. It's not been repainted. It's original paint on the firewall and stuff. But so you can see it's all in pretty good, darn good shape. Just put a new alternator on it last week. The air conditioning is functional. Like a lot of old cars, it does tend to leak out every couple years and have to be recharged. I haven't converted it to 134, but I would advise it just because it's a lot less expensive. The glass is all in super good condition. Door panels are in great shape. The car does have charger upper door pads on it because I didn't want to put my arm on hot metal every summer. You see the back seat's in really good shape. Probably hadn't been a dozen different people over the last 12 years even ride back there. And it also actually has the original headliner. It's a little too dark to be able to see it, but it's in actually really great shape. Again, because it's a California car. You want to see the trunk? Let me open that door back up. I actually have a little button stuck inside so I could open the trunk if the car shows easy. And there's the big giant trunk. You can always live in here if you need to. Pull the mat back. Easier said than done at this temperature. Not very flexible. See the probably dirt underneath here. I haven't lifted it in a long time, but it's all very solid. And when I bought this car, there was no trunk seal on it, and there was water underneath the original mat, and there was some scaling down here, and I painted the whole bottom of the trunk with POR 15, and it looks kind of lumpy because I painted with POR 15 and I sprayed some rubberized undercoating over it so that the paint would stick better, because paint doesn't stick to POR 15 very well. These spots are just actually just kind of dirty. If I wiped all this down, it would come off. And then the other side's the same way, if I can get it to lift up. You could tell it's a California car because it has that tube in the corner. That was to catch gases that came out of the tank when it would get hot. It would collect in there, and then when it would compress again and when the weather get colder, it would drip back in the tank rather than going out in the air. Again, like I said, there was some scaling here. I mean, I'm 250 pounds. I can stand in this trunk. I mean, it's solid. It's just, like I said, there's a little scaling on the top, and then it probably looks worse than it really is because of where I sprayed it. Go over here and start it up. May run a little fast because it's probably not warmed up. I just backed it out so I could get around it better. Yeah, it's idling a little fast right now. It's a 6-pack, so it should idle right around 900 RPM. So it does have a functional choke, which is a wonderful thing, because the choke kicks right in and operates every time. You see the motor's nice and solid. It's not sitting there shaking and quivering, even though it's cold. get the idle to kick down a little bit. It's a little high. Still a little bit high. I know exhaust tones don't usually record too well. This one lets you hear that it runs nice and even. Still, the motor's nice and solid. Most of the shaking you're seeing is me. And then the front of the car does have halos in it. Gives it kind of a sinister look driving down the road in the evening. Sure that buzzing is as annoying to you as it is to me. Now, one thing that would need to be fixed on this car is the heat, and it's actually a pretty simple fix. I just haven't found the right size O-rings to fix it, where the heat comes through the firewall and into the back of the heater core. You got two little brass tubes that go in there with an O-ring around them that pushes into the heater core, and those O-rings started to leak and drip, so I blocked off the heater hoses because I can't find the right size O-rings. I have an extra heater box that I could test fit things on, and I haven't found a set that felt like it made a good positive connection that would seal it good, and I just hadn't had luck with it yet. And actually, you buy the car, I'll put the extra heater box in the trunk and send it with it. It's a heater box for AC because they're different. So that's about all I really know to show you. So I'll send this or get it on YouTube, and if there's anything else you want to see, you'll have to let me know.